Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to Jamtalk. So this time I invited Gajen, stand-up comedy and now a virtual stand-up comedy. So he'll be sharing a lot of things about how he found his passion on doing this, including I hope that about the content, how he keep on having being funny. Maybe that's I think most likely he will say just be myself lah because by looking at his face, you also can see he's a funny guy lah. So maybe he can introduce himself a little bit and just to, before he proceed, just to share a words or two that how I knew Gajen. When I was on Facebook, I hardly on Facebook. Okay, just to say, I hardly on Facebook, and time to time I will have a look those very comedy things or the news. So now the news are getting not quite depressing. So instead of reading the news, I see through the comedies part lah. So Gajen, he's trying to have a lot of characteristics on his video. He can sometimes become a daughter, mother, or even talk the things are quite relevant to our society today. So I try to find him on LinkedIn. I think he's quite new to LinkedIn. I'm not quite sure. So I added him, and of course, he also approved me. So even though we don't have anything in common, but one thing for sure, he is from Penang, and I'm very happy he said yes for my Gem Talk because I approached him as well. The thing of inviting him for the Gem Talk because he can talk and obviously can bring up the cheer to the audiences. So I think there are a lot of people who wanted to know how to be cheered up even by themselves instead of the organization. So I can see a lot of people, their face been very sad. I think of course obviously with the economy downturn at this time. So we are very happy to have Gajen here. So Gajen, maybe you can introduce yourself. I think
Yeah.
especially to Aina, she said she come because of me. So maybe she wouldn't know much about you. So
Uh,
you can tell a little bit about yourself.
yeah. I'll just assume everyone doesn't know me, so I'll just start from ground zero. First of all, thanks James for having me. By the way, another fun fact, James, is it your younger brother, Steve? Steve,
Walao
right?
eh, that's my
Yeah.
brother, older brother
Oh,
leh,
older
seven
brother.
years,
Sorry.
7 years older some
Oh,
more. Wow.
sorry.
It's okay, it's no problem.
Yeah, but yeah, his brother was actually in the same scouts group as me because I'm from Penang Preschool.
Uh,
So we're in the same Sea Scout groups, and I met him once, I think, because he passed me a blueprint of a canoe or
oh,
kayak. Yeah,
yes,
because
yes.
Sea Scouts we go kayaking. So a bit of fun fact there. Yeah, but yeah, my name is Gajen Nad. I am from Penang, Bayan Baru to be specific. That's where I grew up. Oh, you are Bayan
Hey,
Baru, so Daniel.
just
Huh?
in, just
Wow.
to draw some crowd. Okay, that's a good trick.
But everywhere in Penang is small. So once you move to KL, you notice everywhere in Penang is small. But when you're in Penang, like, wow, island to one end to another end, like very far. But yeah. So I started stand-up comedy in 2012. Actually, just a fun fact, right? This month is my 9th year anniversary. So I started in February 2012. And now it's 2021 February. So I started when I was a final year mechanical engineering student in Monash University. So how it started is I entered a talent competition, and I wanted to dance initially because at that time Michael Jackson passed away. That era, that time now, and I wanted to do a Michael Jackson dance. But then I asked myself, I have this one rule in me, this one life principle. I never like to do what the majority does. So I
Yes.
always ask myself, what are the majority doing, and I'll avoid doing that because life is too short to be a drop in the ocean.
Mhm.
So I told myself, what do people always do in talent shows? They always sing and dance. And these are the two common ones. Then I was like, no, let me tell some jokes. So I told some jokes. Now when I look back, I feel like killing myself. Those are really shit jokes. But anyway, the judges liked it, and I won second. Right? Then the university kept asking me to perform again and again. This was before 2012. And then in 2012, my friend told me, hey, why don't you perform in an actual comedy show in public? So I performed in Publica. We call it open mic lah. So to give an analogy, what an open mic is like a test environment for you to do your jokes. So like before you see any product on the road, they go through a certain testing, right? Pre-production or concept. These are all the terms used, right? So yeah, in stand-up comedy is the same. Like before I tell my jokes at a corporate gig, it has already gone through some testing and it which is open mic shows. So I went for my first show, which is an open mic comedy show, and it went well. And then ever since then, I kept on getting invited again and again. And I think after 3 years of doing open mics, I think then I would label myself as an stand-up comedian. Yeah. So the term stand-up comedian means you have already done it professionally for corporate. People who try stand-up comedy, they are not called comedians. They are called open micers. It's like an intern or a fresh graduate. You're under the management trainee program. So I'm using corporate analogy so that you'll absorb way quicker. Yeah. So I was doing it part-time. I graduated as an engineer, but I never worked as an engineer. I worked as an IT consultant in Accenture, which is an American consulting firm. So I was doing it part-time, very hardcore, because balancing between IT, Accenture at that time, the hours was bad. Now work-life balance is much better. Then in 2018, I decided to leave my job to pursue this full-time. And the reason for that is because it hit quite a number of check boxes. The first checkbox was I was hitting a mental threshold. So what I mean by mental threshold is at that time when I was working, I was a consultant. The role in Accenture's term means assistant manager. So for me to move up to the next level, I need to spend a lot of hours doing SAP. I don't know whether you all know what SAP is. It's a German company lah. But yeah, we need to learn that program lah. So for me to level up, I need to put in a lot of effort. And at the same time, for stand-up comedy, I was hitting a threshold also. I feel like I'm not going to the next level. The way I tell jokes, my how active I am. So there was a threshold there, and I decided to take a jump. And I looked at my finances. The stand-up comedy income part-time was already went past my surpassed my expenses. So all these check boxes were all ticked, and I was like, okay. So if part-time already went past my expenses, I think full-time should be a no-brainer. Then at the same time, financial checklist is I already got all my loans and my credit cards done. Because fun fact, before you leave your 9 to 5 job, you want to make sure that you have all of this. Because if you're a freelancer and you go to the bank and say, "Oh, I'm a guitarist. Can I apply for a loan?" Bank asks you, "Can you please leave my bank?" So yeah, I always tell people no, because like you get all these motivational quotes, right? Like, "Oh, leave your job. Go after your passion." And I'll tell people, don't be an idiot, lah. The best things in the world are always balanced, well balanced, right? If you look at any product, any service, you ask yourself, are they well balanced or not? It's always well balanced. So don't be that person like, oh, passion, Monday motivation, leave everything behind. So it's a well balanced thing. I left my job in 2018. So at that time, so when I left my job, a lot of people don't know this. I had to do it part time, doing 600 shows part time, while having a job, Yeah, for 6 years, That means 100 shows per year.
Yeah,
That means, 1 or 2 shows per week while having a job. And last time IT consulting, some of our work is at 2 a.m. I'm not kidding. Yeah, because we call it deployments. Like a fun fact, like you can't do your banking transactions at 12 a.m. because the IT folks are doing their work because low activity. Yeah, so which is me. I didn't work in the banking sector, but I worked in the internet sector. Then after I moved to energy. So hardcore, and I had to manage between this and comedy. So I keep telling people, get a 9 to 5 job and all that. So after 6 years of doing it part time, and after 600 shows, I left my job and I'm doing it full time. So now it's been 2 years plus now. And yeah, since going full time, I ventured into other things like doing content creation, which is like the videos and all that. Started doing some training on presentation skills. And what else? Yeah, and now with this pandemic that has kicked in, a lot of comedians some started their own business, like food business. I decided to stay here doing comedies because I wanted to push myself to transform. Because I asked myself, if there's another pandemic, which there will be in future, we just don't know when, we just don't know what disease it is, what virus. What am I going to do, right? If I've already found a solution to this pandemic, I won't be afraid of the next pandemic. So it's a long-term solution kind of thing. So I had to push myself in the virtual comedy, and so far it's been going okay. It's been growing. So yeah, long story short, that's my whole timeline from the from the time I started till now. Yeah.
Oh, very nice, very interesting, Gajen. I mean, you all the while, even pivot your career, you are still, remaining in KL. Didn't much thinking about how to, discover yourself or explore much in Penang or maybe some other places. So is it because of the environment you had in KL makes you stay in KL even after your corporate world, become a stand-up comedy, also remain in KL as well?
Yeah.
Is it
So
quite open market there, right?
so
Compared.
it's a good question. So I had this question after like 1 year of doing stand-up comedy. When I graduated, I said I can find a job in Penang, and then Penang there's not much stand-up comedians, and if I go there, I might be like a pioneer in doing that. Or I could rather stay in KL where they are ready shows and where they are ready like senior comedians like Douglas Lim, Harith Iskandar, Kavin J, Dr. Jason, and all that. And I had to choose KL because if I go to Penang, I become a pioneer. But how am I going to grow? Because I don't know
Mm.
who to learn from.
Yes,
You
true.
you need a you need an environment to grow on.
Mm.
So if you know what they say, right? If you surround yourself with billionaires,
Mm.
you will be a billionaire. One. There's always an
Mm.
environment. You are what you consume. So I had to pick KL because this is where all the shows are. And when they bring in international stand-up comedians, they always perform in KL. Very rarely they'll perform in other cities unless they're doing a tour. Some of them they're okay. They'll go to Penang, sometimes KK, but most of the time it's always KL. Like if you look at all the international artists,
Mm.
if it's towards Asia, they always perform in the capitals. Unless
Mm.
in Europe, then maybe they will tour in like main cities apart from the capital. So, but
Mm.
Asia is always capital given the priority first.
Yeah,
So
true.
yeah, that's my decision thought process of picking KL. Notice the
Mm.
answer I gave is very Accenture. This is how consultants give a decision. You cannot keep one the all checkbox. Then okay, all tick. Then only I'll design on this.
It's like when you talk, you are predicting that people have some question, so you keep on throwing the answer, keep on throwing the answer. So by hoping nobody will be asking you anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's actually a consulting thing because my boss used to question me, and when before he present, he'll ask me to question him.
Mhm.
So it's like a two-way thing. We are keep questioning each other so that the client cannot like bang us. So
Mm.
that's I don't know whoever here is consulting, but yeah, that's like the usual thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Just a shout out, a quick one. We have new faces here. Yeah, you cannot escape lah. You thought you came in late, can escape the introduction part lah. I have few people here. I think people on the floor would like to know them. Tris, hi Tris. Tris, she's a very busy young girl, and very happy to have you here. Maybe you can let us know why you've been attracted to Gajen here for a show. Obviously, maybe one of the reason is for Gajen only. I can know that.
Hi guys. Hi guys. My name is Trace. I'm currently doing a new job. I'm doing content creating in a startup marketing firm, and I joined because I've been want to get a time to join Jamtalk, and then I have like 10 minutes left and need to go to work. So here I am.
Hmm.
Hi guys. Hi everyone.
Hi. Wow, interesting. All right. 10 minutes. Wow, even 10 minutes also must wanted to be here. Very thank you very much. Arvin, hi Arvin. Arvin saying he's having breakfast now. Food stain on the keyboard. Okay, no problem. Arvin also a guy who following me. You see his face over there is quite serious, but he's a very funny guy lah. So don't worry about that. Yeah. Um. Yes. We can continue. Gajen. Yes. So yeah, talking about how do you time to time you've been pivot from consulting to comedian. Is there any related things that you can learn from consulting and became a comedian? Do you have
Yeah,
the thing?
definitely.
Yeah.
I always tell this to people, right? Regardless of anything that you do, there's always things that are relatable. One. It
Mhm.
depends on how creative you are. So the only thing that's stopping you is the creative mind. Everything is related. One. There's always similarities. One. You just have to push yourself and think out of the box. So, for example, in consulting, we learn things like project management, like understanding timeline, right? Understanding yeah, resource workload, how to do that. So this is like very general. In whatever you do, you need a timeline. You need to know the difficulty. Then risk management is also a consulting thing, which is what I applied when I went full time. That's why, like in the arts industry, the reason why the failure rate is so high, like entertainment, is because most of them are not all rounders. So you ask them about finance, don't know. Which I keep telling everyone, the three things that you engage every day is people, time, and money.
Hmm.
And interestingly, we don't learn this in school. Right? We go and learn biology, physics, how to calculate the height of the wave. Like, for what?
Yes,
Tsunami, you
true.
want to calculate the height of the wave? I also never understood. right? We bang the water in the tub to calculate the amplitude. And I'm a physics guy, I like physics. Look, nothing wrong with that, but priority first. You learn what you engage first.
Mm.
And so time, money, and financial management, that's the key things. So uh, these are like the very important things, and it'll reduce your risk when you go full time.
Mhm.
That's the reason why. That's why, like, the only person that I look up to are people like Douglas Lim,
Mm.
Dr. Jason, because they all are very well rounded. They are quite financially stable. A lot of artists, they are up and down.
Mm.
Like, I'll give you an example. This works everywhere, no, not in Malaysia. I'll give some Hollywood examples. Have you watched the movie The Mummy?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you know the main actor? Have you seen him in any new movies? No. The guy's
No.
like gone there. So it's like hit peak. Then so the graph is always for entertainment is always up. Very few people remain relevant. No. So people like Tom Cruise, the fact that he's still doing Mission Impossible, and the fact that he's still people are still watching it, and he's still relevant for how many decades now? He's from 80s.
Mm.
So he's one of the very few, that can still make it through the decades. So not easy, and you got to constantly reinvent yourself. Follow the, the times and all that. Yeah.
Yes.
Just curious, Gajen,
Yeah.
because the fact that I like that the idea that you're now doing comedy for companies, for corporate settings. I mean, listen, I mean, I'm from a corporate environment as well too. It's very such a ballsy move. How did you penetrate into the corporate setting in the first place? You're able to make the sweet laugh and all those. Those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, I mean, how did it start, man?
So interestingly, even when I was doing it during my first year in 2012, I already had a corporate invite. So I wouldn't even label myself as a stand-up comedian. I'm an open micer. So my first client was actually Maxis. This was in Penang. A second client was also in Penang. Was a different company. So, and I asked myself, why do companies find me? Is because I'm one of the very few stand-up comedians who does clean material. Now, the definition of clean material means no vulgarity, uh, no sex jokes, no political stuff. Now, a lot of comedians who do their set during their comedy shows, obviously they'll switch it to clean when they go for corporate. But my set, whether it's a comedy show or whether it's at a corporate setting, it's always clean one. So I guess people get attracted easily lah. That's point number one. Point number two is, I think, because I can speak the corporate language. Yeah. So for example, like just now, I just did yesterday I just did an IT webcast, and it's talking about zero code development. How zero code development is the future. Not to like punch down on other comedians or other artists, but most of them, if they were to perform, like, they straight away go into the performance. And I don't know. I spent the first 5 to 10 minutes talking to the talking to the audience, talking to the speakers, and through there also I generate laughter. But that doesn't fall into stand-up comedy. That falls under improv comedy, which is a different segment, which is a very important skill. Yeah. That's why for those who are talking about public speaking or just now the speech, right? You can jot this down. Also, improvisation is a very important skill. You wouldn't want to go somewhere scripted, I can tell you that. So imagine if suddenly the lights turn off, or suddenly the client say, hey, I brought in a few people, or when there's a change in plan, that's when your improvisation skills come in. You wouldn't want to be a structured person, because the more structured you are, the more robotic it is. The more robotic it is, the less human it is. So people get less connected. So like when I did the IT webcast, right, they were using GoToWebinar, which is a very weird system. Apparently the audience cannot chat, no.
Funny.
They cannot chat to each other, yeah. So I was thinking, shit, I need a way to, because I cannot get their mic, so I got no input. I need to get some sort of feedback. So usually I'll get the ha-has through the chat box. I will tell them, okay, if you want to laugh, you ha-ha. If you want to clap, you type in W's, because W's look like a clap. And then this is what I tell in the beginning before I start my set. And then turns out they have to put it under a question. GoToWebinar, there's a question function. So they were all typing ha-has in the question function. So I had to improvise in the beginning. So improvisation is very important. And the idea is to just be human. So a lot of people, right, they like, I think some of you all here, I'm very sure interestingly, all of you all here, you have made someone laugh before, right? Everyone has made someone laugh before, right? But the interesting thing is, when you go to a more serious setting, you got to ask yourself, are you still being yourself, or do you have a switch? And you ask yourself, can you transfer that energy, a little bit of that energy towards the corporate setting? Right? So yeah, because I see this pattern a lot lah. So that's basically how I got to like the corporate setting, because I'm able to bridge between the entertainment part and also corporate. You wouldn't want to just go in there and just do, you get what I mean? Because I can hold a conversation with the client regardless of any industries. And also another reason is because I enjoy reading stuff. You get what I mean? Like a lot of artists, they can talk about arts lah, but when it comes to the client's industry, they cannot, not many can hold a conversation lah. Imagine a client say, I'm in agriculture. What are you going to talk? I'm in green tech. Don't know. So so that's why I keep telling people, well, you got to be well balanced. So you are still a specialist, but don't forget, you got to be a generalist as well. This may look contradictory, but it's not. So like for me, people ask me, what am I? I'm a stand-up comedian. But can I do a lot of other things? Can. I'm a generalist also. But you still specialize in one. So balance, I would say. I think that's how me and the corporate world jived in together. Yeah.
Very much like Trevor Noah as well too, because I remember Trevor Noah. I've never seen an episode that he has got any vulgarities or even anything about sexual innuendos, and I was just very amazed. And that was probably my first encounter with a modern day comedian. Without it, and you watch Netflix, if you see some others, I can't remember the names right now, and definitely it's going to be a lot of sexual innuendos. And well done.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's a good thing that you mentioned that, because Trevor Noah is like my role model in terms of career trajectory. Yeah, but with that being said, even though I said clean comedy and all that, it's not that I'm against vulgarity and all that. I believe it or not, I actually prefer dirty stuff during stand-up comedy. It's just that I chose the clean way is because I like challenge. It's harder to write clean jokes. Yeah, because imagine now let's say you have to joke of a building, a non-living thing. So it's difficult, and you got to enjoy difficulty in order for you to grow lah. Yeah. So yeah, good thing you mentioned Trevor Noah.
So given the choice, let's just say if you got a live audience, safe to say that we can bring our kids and it's kid friendly lah, yeah.
Yeah, assuming they know how to not cry lah. So
yeah. So yes, we talk about we have a few questions here just now. I mean, Winnie did ask. Wow, Winnie very direct. Where do you get the ideas? I think actually Gajen did mention how did he get the idea? Not very obvious way, but he did mention how somehow he get the ideas. Or maybe Gajen, you have anything particular you want to add on for for a question like this?
Yeah.
Where did you get your ideas?
Yeah. Okay. So who's this? Okay, Winnie. When you say ideas, as in ideas for what? Because I do, so like, is it for stand-up comedy performance? Is it for the videos that the do, like the comedy skits, the one where I act out a character? Or is it, yeah?
It's the idea of the comedian stories. Yeah.
Okay, so basically my jokes are when I do virtual comedy,
exactly.
my
Yes.
jokes. Okay, so number one is most of the time it comes from experience. Because experience is, see, the problem is no one can ever share the exact same experience as you. So when you tell experience, it's you own it. So that's number one. Another thing is sometimes I can it's very difficult to, if you talk about stand-up comedy jokes, it's very tough lah, because people first need to understand a joke. So maybe I'll share with you all how a joke works. The structure, very simple. A joke has got two parts. The first part is called a setup. The second part is called a punchline. So a lot of people think that they laugh because the joke is funny. That's true, it's funny, but funny is very vague. Well, what is funny actually? So the reason why people laugh is because you get a surprise. So that's the term, a surprise. So the surprise happens at the punchline. So another term for this is called a twist. So how to say? Okay, so for example, I'll tell you this joke which I've said before. One of my favorite movies is Taken. Have you all watched the movie Taken? Liam Neeson, right?
Yes.
Playing the father, and then the daughter gets taken away. But I was thinking the other day, if my father and I were to act in the movie, the title would have been Given. So that is a twist. So the joke here is, instead of, because in the movie Taken, the father goes and gets the daughter. But in here, I'll say if my father and I would act in the movie, the title would have been given, and the joke is my father gives me away, like he doesn't give a shit, lah. So there's always, so the punchline is always a twist. So that's the meaning of a punchline. It needs to create a twist. So if you wanna, so like just now, who's that? Winnie, right? Yeah. If you wanna make your speech funny, right? There needs to be a certain twist. Yeah. So very simple. At the beginning, you gotta make a twist. So that's the first thing you have to understand to why people laugh. So the first question you need to ask is always why, before you can go to how, what, everything. That's why our education system a bit off. We learn a lot of what. You realize that?
Yes.
Like what is physics, but you don't learn why. Right? It's the same as work. Companies, they show, attendance of company this amount. Yeah, but do you know why your employees come to work? Don't know. So our whys are very weak. So the why do people love is this, because it's a surprise. So there needs to be a plot twist in the joke. So that's one. Okay, so regarding the ideas for stand-up comedy, okay, so if I come out with so normally when I read the news, if I sort of think, hey, you know what, this news is relatable to me, and I think I can write a joke about it, I'll jot it down in my notes about the topic, and then when I have a free time, I will start writing the joke lah. Now the joke writing process, like I said, setup and then punchline. It's very hard to explain verbally lah, but to summarize is that's the way lah.
I think we can
Yeah.
relate if you're content creators. Similarly, instead of using your charisma, your face, and your voice, we are translating this into words as well. So yeah, and I like the fact that you mentioned that you derive it with a lot of your experience, which I think you're right. Some may not be able to relate to your experiences. It's unique; you can own it. But I think more often than not, there'll always be some crossover of certain aspects of shared experience.
Yeah.
Nice one, bro.
Thanks a lot, Gajen. And I think there are times where people like Jeffrey, he was in NLP coach for many years, and he also tells us what he do for on a living. So do you have any advice for people like Jeffrey, besides on what you have mentioned just now, I mean, on your own pivoting or even additions idea from you as being a comedian? But as an NLP, do you think is it relates very, very much well? I mean, how they can become, suddenly talking, they suddenly from coach became a stand-up comedy, do they have a way, try to make it themselves, not too much comedy, but still can deliver a message?
Okay. Yeah, definitely can. Okay, the thing is, so like just now I said, stand-up comedy is a difficult process because you only get training through the open mics. So open mics is literally you go up there, you got 3 minutes, you tell a joke, and then once after that is done, and then you go back and then you reevaluate, see what went wrong, why did you get laughs at this punchline. So it's a what do you call it? It's a very vigorous, it's a very lengthy process. So okay, so I'll tell you how I actually from start to end how I actually develop a joke. So like just now I say, I get all the ideas, right? So for example, one of my ideas is let's just say, okay, like just now the movie Taken. I just watched the movie Taken. Then I just say, okay, it's a father and daughter connection. So do I have a connection? Yeah, father and son connection, right? Now the difference is in the movie Taken, it's a Western parenting. Asian parenting we are harsh. Western parents, they always love their kids. Oh, don't shout at me. Oh, okay, mommy will buy you a toy. No, Asian parents, we don't do that shit. we straight away like okay, I don't use physical examples because today I could be charged for abuse. Then later I'll be picking up soap somewhere. So, but yeah, we are a bit more strict. So I'm going through my thought process. Then I say, oh, so it's relatable to me. And so the idea is Liam Neeson and the daughter, my father and me. So taken and given. So that's how I write the joke, the process. Find something relatable and then compare. So comparison is a way of getting ideas, right? We call it analogical thinking. So maybe for you all can jot this down, analogical thinking. Thinking skills is very important, which is like zero in our education system. Our education system, all knowledge only. Which is weird because to put it in a simple analogy, knowledge is like horsepower in a car. So you put in like you put in a 500 horsepower in a car, it's not going to go fast. You need to upgrade other things as well. So it's the same thing as here. You have a lot of knowledge, no point. You need thinking skills. Analogical thinking skills is one of the key things. And the reason why it's important is apart from all the in the corporate world, in the creative side, what I just showed you the example, that's analogical as well. Like I said, the Liam Neeson and the daughter, then my father and I. So there's an analogy.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a way to get ideas as well. So once I do that, I perform at an open mic, and then after I'll reevaluate it, and then I'll perform the same joke again. So sometimes I don't change anything. It's because sometimes the audience could be just down that day. Because the audience will be like 20, 30 people. So I always perform the same joke twice, just to see whether the joke is at wrong, or maybe the audience at the time was a bit off. If I keep changing, then there are too many variables. So sometimes you know what's your variable and constant. So that's another IT consulting thing. When you do testing, do you know your variables and constant? Yeah. So I keep performing that and that. Then after I know the structure, once I know that, then I'm able to polish it. So that's the term we use, polish it. Polish means if the joke can get 90% success rate, that means if I perform 10 times, it's successful 90%. That means it's ready, production ready. That means I'm able to do it in a corporate setting.
Yes.
Yeah. So to answer, like just now you said, for trainers and all that, if you want to tell a joke, the best way is to actually, I can't think of a better way other than open mic. Because you can learn all the theory in the world. That's again tying back to education system. No, but it's true. No, very theoretical, which is weird because if you listen to Tony Robbins and all the billionaires and all that, they will tell you that knowledge is zero until you have applied it, until you have practiced it. So I always tell people, don't go and waste your time learning so much theory when you have not practiced it. So now some of you may be asking, wow, Gajen, is that the only way to develop humor? Of course, there are other ways, but I'll teach you a simple way to bring you closer to humor. It won't make you funny, but I'll bring you closer, and it may lead to something else. Talk about something casual. Don't jump into the main thing, right? So for example, yesterday I had the IT webcast. I didn't jump into my joke straight away. I talk about the speakers first. One of the speakers was from NUS, is a Singaporean guy. Another speaker, Malaysian, from Monash University, just like me. And I told the crowd, okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what NUS and Monash University is, if you get rejected by NUS, you'll get accepted by Monash University. And then, and this is not even part of the plan. It just came on the spot. So improvisation, right? And I kill many birds with one stone. Number one, I get a laughter. Number two, I've done my homework. I know what the speaker's background are. Number three, the guest is from NUS. So I'm protecting the guest, and the joke is on me because I'm from Monash. So I killed 3 birds and one. So if you ask me how I developed this, it's slowly training by training. You have to take risk. So for those who are like speaking, right, try to take one change at a time. So like Vinny and who's the other guy there? Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah. When you do your training, for your next training, ask yourself, what's that one thing you want to change? Don't change 10 things. That's another mistake people do. You change 10 things, you won't change anything. You change one thing, you will change that one thing. You know the Pareto rule. I think I'm very sure all of you all here have heard of the Pareto rule. Don't do 10 things. Do 2 things or 3 things that will change your day. Okay, so what's the one thing you want to change in your next training? Do something casual. It's okay. When you talk to your audience, right? Just say, okay, like just now, James actually spoke casual. By just speaking casual, doesn't matter if it's funny or not, but you're actually one step closer because you're less serious. And sometimes you never know where those conversations may happen. So for example, right, like just now, James, people kept saying, I'm here for Gajen, I'm here for Gajen, I'm here for Gajen. And then who was the first one to say that I'm here for James?
Aina.
No, it was a previous, I think Aina.
Yes.
So that was also actually kind of funny. You saw a few people laugh. It's because you know why? There's a twist.
Yes.
Right? Because so now the setup is Gajen, I'm here for Gajen, I'm here for Gajen, I'm here for Gajen. Twist, you know what, James, this time I'm here for you. So see, that's also, so that itself is a joke. That's why people laugh just now. So a lot of people don't know the whys, and this is the why, like an
Yes.
example. Yeah. So so whenever you, for those who are speaking, change one thing and try to take risk. And like I said, if you want to be funny, you got to be number one, be yourself. A lot of people think to be funny, they need to, I need to tell a joke. No, sometimes if you be yourself and you be casual on certain parts, you'll be surprised you can channel your inner self. Like for example, like when you're in a cafe, I'm very sure you have made someone laugh. Every one of you all have made someone laugh. Now ask yourself, how can you channel that bit into your training session or into your corporate world? You just have to be more human. A lot of people are not funny because they are being less human. You're reading a script. Good morning. Can you all listen to, can you all hear me? Can all they? Okay, we're gonna start our agenda. Like sometimes at corporates, they hire me like for mental health, right? Awareness. Then they ask me to do comedy. And then like these directors and all that, they'll show why depression is a big thing. But they'll say it in a very depressing way, which is very ironic. Now you're giving me depression apart from apart from solving depression. So that's another thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, another quick tip, right? For like the ones who want to be funny during public speaking. You got to be a jovial person. So you got to smile first. If you don't smile, if you're not a high energy person, if you're like, hi, good morning, this and that, it's not going to work. So like for me, right, whatever I do in stand-up comedy, physical, and whatever I do virtual comedy, is you'll be, even though there's a lot of crossover, but they're like 30% difference. And the 30% difference is that my energy here is a bit higher because what do you call that? Online attention span is shorter, and you're not looking at a human, you're looking at a screen. So your senses are different. The connection is less. It's just like if you've been to a football stadium and you've watched through TV, big difference. The energy you get from the 100,000 people, wow, that's like a drug there. Compared to you watching on TV, you can have like a 70-inch 4K TV. No difference. So different delivery. That's the reason why the what do you call it? Virtual meetings is a fatigue now. Because a lot of company directors, managers, when they do a meeting, they are literally using the same recipe that they use during physical meetings, which was already a problem. People don't like attending a lot of meetings. They say, oh, tired, a lot of meetings. Yeah. So that was already a problem. Now on virtual, it's even harder. It's become a bigger problem. So whatever problems that you face in this pandemic, if you tie back, right, it was already a problem before this one. It's just like EPF, right? Now we can take money for a retirement fund. Retirement fund was already a problem back then. Malaysians cannot retire comfortably. Now you can take out money even worse. That's a bigger issue. So it's the same thing as the Zoom thing. A lot of people, they don't know how to make their meetings interactive. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it lah.
All right.
I know long-winded, but I hope you all learn a couple of things.
Gajen, we just people start to have some things wanted to leave the room. So I thought with a full strength we can have a group photo as a memory for the speaker. So is it okay for everyone to switch on the camera? Like Jeffrey, I know you are driving a car, but it's okay. Hi, Edward. Hello. Edward always a smiling face. You see, even before doing any jokes, his face is a joke. I mean, not a joke. Smiling. I mean, giving us happiness. Hi, Jeffrey. Hi. Hi, Swanson. Are you there? I think Carmen is in the class. Aina. Hi, Aina. Maybe you can switch on your video. Who else? Winnie. I think Winnie is in the office. But it's okay. She have a very nice smile there as well. Her photo. Right. So hi, Jerry. Yeah, Jerry have a photo. Switch on his video as well. Right. So we have a group photo for our. Yeah, one person already left. 119 only now. 20 strength, right? Okay, never mind. All right. So we have a group photo now for our speaker. All right. So let's count to three. I have to count to three. If not, later people his eyes here and there, the hand flying. So I'll count to three. Hey Jeffrey, you okay? Boleh?
Ya, okay. Boleh.
Okay. So count to three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me check. Let's see, is there anybody's eyes opening? Right, sweet. Okay. Thank you. Come here. So thank you, Jerry. Thank you, everyone, with this video. I know you quite hard to switch on the video for maybe you're working as well. Not like everyone like Chris even talking on the phone also switch on this video, listening this talk. Yeah. So Gajen, thank you. I mean, there are a lot of comments. In fact, when you're talking, I was reading through the comments. I hope you do as well because there are some
Too
questions
fast,
here.
right?
Yeah, it's like you're talking, they're also talking. I don't know they are listening or not because they are in a way typing about their question while listening what you're talking.
Oh, sorry. Let me look at some questions, wait.
Yeah, no problem. The one of them is very nice one. Like this question saying, how do you manage your trolls? I'm sure you have tons. You have when you this successful. Or so basically, she is saying that you are successful. So how do you filter or you combat your trolls? By writing as well as do you have trolls during the show as well? I mean during talking people instead of typing like
Yeah,
those keyboard
definitely.
warrior, right? So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. By the way, before I answer this, how much time do we have? So that
We
until what
have
time is the show?
okay, now we will finish at 12. So by 11:30, before 11:30, we will have end the session at 11:30. Then
Okay,
break up rooms for 10 minutes. Then come
Okay.
back again. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, I'm not really this isn't really my strength, like handling trolls, because initially last time I used to overthink, because sometimes like when you're trying to be a perfectionist, sometimes you get like one comment which is really dumb, and then you start overthinking about it. So it took me a few years. Right now, ever since I started doing a lot of videos, that book, How Not to Give a F.
Yeah.
So I thought sometimes that book makes a lot of sense, because if you start giving a damn about a lot of things, you could overheat, That's it,
What?
Daniel.
Yo.
That's why I see Daniel looks very fresh, I am very sure you came across trolls and you know to handle them. But yeah, I used to struggle this as well, and I realized I've come to the point where sometimes it's just not worth investing your time and energy there. So you just don't care about it. So if you start overthinking about it, usually what I'll do is I'll just watch a comedy video on YouTube or say TikTok or something to make myself laugh. Because when you laugh, right, you start thinking about positive things. In fact, all these billionaires, right, sometimes they start their morning routines by just smiling. Or when they hit a rock bottom, they just force themselves to smile. Because when you smile, you either attract positive things, or at worst, you won't attract anything, which means you will stop negative things from coming. So that's the power of smile. Yeah. So for those who are doing training, right, just you got to smile and you got to be jovial. That energy will be transferred over. And I've seen this in a corporate setting also. Like a manager that's always stuck up, the turnover rate will be very high. All the employees below that project also will be very stuck up. Then I moved to another project, same company, right? Very jovial managing director. Wow, everyone down there is very people friendly. They care. So I would say sometimes just gonna ignore these comments and move on. Life is too short to start caring about everyone.
Right. So no problem. I think you're right as well, because when you entertain them, half your day is gone, and with sometimes emotionally breakdown as well. So
Yeah.
okay, wow, this Ginger, wow, the name Ginger very 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 spicy. His question, where do this question always quite annoying during the meeting. Where you see yourself in 5 years time, and do you advise another person coming into this industry? Very typical question, but I think it's a catch to some people. So yeah, so Gajen, maybe you can reply this answer.
Oh, this is a very HR question, like a job
Yeah,
interview.
walao.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What value can you add to this company?
Very heavy leh.
Okay. 5 years' time, I'll say my goals will be to be on Netflix. That's the main. That's the main goal. Actually, I've contacted them 2 years ago. I was supposed to have my 1 hour special. So in comedy, we have this term called special. So a special means it's a best performance, and the best performance is normally either 30 minutes or 1 hour. So like the ones you see on Netflix, those 1 hour shows, those are called specials. So I was supposed to have my 1 hour show last year, but due to the pandemic, I had to postpone it. So the plan is to send the recording to Netflix, and hopefully they will consider. Their office is in Singapore. It's weird, like all the big companies office in Singapore. Like never pick Malaysia. I don't know why, but yeah, that's the idea. Like the main one will be Netflix. Second one will be to be on comedy festivals. So around the world, like I would say, the top 3 comedy festivals will be Melbourne, the Melbourne Comedy Festival, Montreal, which is Canada, and one more is Edinburgh, which is Scotland. So these are the very big festivals. If you go there, you will actually meet all the big names. That's how Ronnie Cheng, I think, got. You all know Ronnie Cheng, right? He's a Johorian who studied in Singapore, but started his career in Australia and is currently making it big in Hollywood. Yeah, he actually got picked up at the Melbourne Comedy Festival. Yeah, so that's the dream, lah. Comedy festivals and Netflix, these two. Oh, would you advise someone? Sorry, second part of the.
Yeah, would you advise another person coming into this industry?
Yeah, this is definitely, anyone can go into any industry. Like very simple things. You gotta ask yourself why. So because your why is the one that's going to be your fuel. If you're doing it for money or fame, I would say don't do whatever you're going to do, because that's the reason why this term burnout happens. I've seen this in corporate a lot, no? Like some people, they move up the corporate ladder or year after year get promoted. Then 4 years later, wow, like a senior manager, within 4 years, bam, leave the job. Why burnout? Cannot take it. So ask yourself, why you going? Do you enjoy what you do? No? So if you want to start comedy, ask yourself, do you enjoy making other people laugh or not? And if you really enjoy doing that, then go ahead. Just give it a shot. But like I said, don't leave your job. Do this as a hobby first. Once your hobby starts paying your expenses, assuming you're a financial savvy person and you track your expenses and also your what do you call that, your side income, then yeah, go for it. Or else just treat it as a hobby.
So, so let me see. What else question they have? What is it? Great sharing here, but no Penang food, even though so many Penang nights here. Walao.
Okay, James.
Yes,
I have
yes.
something to say.
Yes, Oliver, go ahead.
Because I have several minutes to go. Yeah, and before I going, I would like to talk something. So firstly, thank you very much, Gajen, for your talking, for your presentations. And secondly, I will say congratulations to James again. Yeah, James as the master mariner. You are the great representative of all of the seafarers to launch the great talks here. Yeah. And before leaving, I also have a question to Gajen. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you talked so many things about jokes, we know that the life is sometimes is like jokes. Yeah, like joke. The jokes can bring you a positive surprise, and also the jokes can bring you negative surprise. So how do you treat about this?
Okay, that's a very good question. So so which is why I said, remember just now I said the testing the jokes, right? So I'll share with you an interesting fact. If a joke does not work during the testing phase, it may transform into an insult depending on the context. Which is why for those starters, right, you want to avoid telling jokes on sensitive topics. Not that you cannot, you actually can, but you require a lot of skills. So I'll just give you an example. If let's say that movie joke that I said just now, Taken and Given, right? If that joke failed, assuming let's say I didn't say Given, I said something else. Is it offensive? No, it's not. It's a joke about movie. Right? Now, if I say a joke about, okay, I'll give you an example where a corporate a director made this mistake. I was actually hosting this conference, right? And the moderator, who's a director, was talking with 3 women HR directors, and then they already went past their session, and then the moderator asked for more time from the timekeeper, and the moderator said this: "Can we get more time? Since they're all women and women talk a lot." So you see, yeah. So his intentions are positive, because I think he wants to break the silence. He wants to generate laughter. So he told a joke, all right. But the joke backfired. right?
Habis.
So the reason why this one transforms into an insult, right? So this is the example I gave. If let's say the movie taken, that joke did not work, it doesn't transform into insult because the topic is a movie. But this one's on gender, and it's playing on a stereotype. So the reason why this transforms into insult is because it's punching down. Right? So you're saying that women talk a lot. So it's punching down. But if you say things like, hey, women are productive, they know how to multitask, they know how to handle things, which is a stereotype as well, gender stereotype, but it's punching up. So I'll give you an example of like, I'm a mixed Chindian. Oliver, I don't know I'm not sure if you know this. In Malaysia and Singapore, we have this term called Chindian because we got multiple races, right? So Chindian is for a Chinese and Indian mixer. So sometimes I do a lot of racial jokes, but I get away with it, right? And it's because you got to know whether it's punching up or punching down, and then you got to know whether who are you aiming with. So I'll give you an example of a racial joke which doesn't become sensitive, right? A Chinese father goes into the labor room, asks the doctor, hey, is it a boy or a girl? But an Indian father goes into the labor room, asks the doctor, hey, is it a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or IT guy? So it's a stereotype. Indians, doctor, lawyer, engineer, IT, always like, these are the four, like Indian parents always go crazy. But is it punching up? Yeah, it's punching up. So when you tell a joke, ask yourself the context. If you're playing on certain, if it's on a sensitive topic, ask yourself about the context. Is it punching up or punching down? But my advice is to try to avoid those sensitive topics, unless you can talk. Here's the thing: you can talk about sensitive topics if it's within your boundaries. So one way to do within your boundaries is, let's say you want to talk about something about culture or something about race, right? You can talk about your family. So everything in the boundary is within your family. Like I have jokes about upbringing, but it's within my family. So if anything goes wrong, is within. So like I said, the reason why it's sensitive is because most of the time it's punching down on a certain group. So if you look at the example that I gave just now, women talk a lot, punching down, group women. So a lot of innocent people are affected. So that's the reason why the joke transformed into an insult.
All right.
Yeah. So I hope that answers. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Gajen. Yeah. So it's because many people from different countries. There are different cultures, different environments. Yes.
Yeah.
So what they're thinking about is different. It's normal. Yes. So from the jokes, my point of view is that we can get something. We can make sense from the jokes, what the jokes can bring to us, and we can maybe make some insights or something you can get from that.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yes, it's a really, it's a great talk today, and to meet James, meet Gajen, and meet all you guys here in the talks. And lastly, I have to go and
Okay, no problem.
say good luck to all of you. Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
enjoying
Oliver.
the great time here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. Thanks.
Thank you, Oliver.
Bye.
All right. So Oliver is from Shanghai. So now he's just one click and he's flying back to Shanghai. And our Jeffrey is still driving. I don't know from where to where. So endless destination. He's very busy today. But still with the Jam Talk, very nice. Thank you, Jeffrey, for your support. I have one more question here. This question from Wen Jie. See Wen Jie, Wen Jie is still here. So must answer this question. Cannot skip. So did anyone close to you oppose your proposal initial on, and what did you do then? Basically, like maybe your close friend or your parents, right? Or is that what you mean, Wenjie? I mean, usually it comes from those who are close with you. They oppose things that you propose something new, like including this job changing from consulting to comedian. So yeah, Gajen, maybe you can anything you can add on for this from just to make Wenjie happy.
The way you sound. No, actually, I didn't understand the question. The question is what? How did my family react to me going full time? Is that the question?
Yeah. So
actually, what I meant was family members, close friends, your inner circles. Yeah.
How did they react to me going full time?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I think interestingly, I think most of them are okay. But the people in Accenture, my company, they were all very supportive. That's why I'm very thankful that I'm very thankful that I'm in a very matured company, because like when I first started working, people who were working in like smaller firms or the old school companies, they say, oh, Gajen, when you do this part time, you better not tell a company. They will use it against you, when you cannot work overtime and all that. But no, in Accenture, they're very matured. They say, hey, this is your hobby, very poor, you're a talented person. They look, oh, you went full time. That's rare, man. So colleagues, they're actually very supportive. That's one. Parents, they're actually okay. And the reason why is because, like I said, right, how I made the jump, all the check boxes, most of the time when people go full time, they don't know how to do that. So I've really reduced the risk by so much, So since going full time, I've never really had a big downtime, except for the pandemic. That one hit me hard during the first MCO, because I realized most of my income was physical. I needed to be somewhere, and none of it was digital, and I needed to do something. But when I went full time before the pandemic as a full time comedian, yeah, there were ups and downs, but generally it was okay. I mean, my parents know that I'm a financial savvy person and all that. So they know that this guy has done his homework. And at the same time, it's also, I wanted a challenge, because it's life is too short to not take a challenge. So it's a calculated risk challenge. It's not like the stories that you hear on motivational quotes, like, oh, leave everything behind, fly to the sky, and I tell
Langgar,
you'll
what?
get depression. I tell you.
They say what?
So yeah.
Langgar saja.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, very nice. I mean, Gajen, you did share about this. I actually can imagine I mean, how you went through. In fact, from a consulting background, I think you did a good job for all this assessment, risk assessment in terms of financial. And we have here Chris question. Have you ever screwed up a show, as in your jokes didn't make anyone laugh? Wow, this one also very high risk calculator, this guy. So yeah, so anything Gajen you can add on this. It seems like to be a very very risk assessor type of person. This Chris, he asked, I mean, his question, I just repeat again. Have you ever screwed up a show, as in your jokes didn't make anyone laugh?
Oh yes, definitely. There's no one there's no human being on the earth where they've got 100%. That's why we're humans. We have all made mistakes. I've definitely screwed up a lot. So most of the screw ups happen in the open mic. So that's the whole point of that test environment. You want to test. Yeah. So for those who are like doing I mean, okay, so if you're like doing public speaking, or if you're like a manager, director, or whatsoever, you want to test. So how do you test? You test on the smaller meetings. You test on the more casual meetings. So that's when you test. Then when the bigger ones you show. So I have failed before. On the big stage, I failed before also. Yeah, in 2014, I went to Hong Kong and I entered a competition. It was in English, stand-up comedy competition. That was the year I think Dr. Jason won the champion as the Hong Kong International Comedy Competition. So that time I wasn't a comedian. I was only an open micer. I was on stage and I blacked out. Yeah, I forgot my jokes. This is like in front of an international crowd, and yeah, for like I think 10 seconds, 10 good seconds, I was just blank and I was just silence. After the 6 seconds or 7 seconds, the crowd started clapping, saying it's okay, you can do it. So they were all very supportive, and then I just moved on to my next joke, the following one. I skipped the joke that I can't remember. And you need these experiences to grow, or else you will never grow. If you have not made a mistake, it shows that you're not trying something new or you're not growing. As simple as that. So that was one of my biggest things. I went back to my hostel. I mean, in Hong Kong, it's called a hostel, but my room was like 100 square feet, because you all know Hong Kong property is bloody expensive. I feel like the time I was only a fresh graduate, and I took my own savings. I went there, 130 ringgit a night.
Wow.
Here, 130 or 150, you can get maybe a 2-star, 3-star hotel. There, I cannot know. My room is literally the size of like a study table. Yeah. You open the door, that's your floor only. So I went back, I was like depressed, But later on, I started to mature and I started to realize the reason why I blacked out was because I was too scripted.
Mhm.
So to all the public speakers, if you're speaking a lot, do not be overly scripted.
Mhm.
Trust me, if you be overly scripted, it's very last time when I was working, right, my manager always said this, right? Gajen, if you're going to do what a robot can do, don't come to work.
Mhm.
So by you being scripted, if you're going to read a slide, then what's your differentiator as a human being? So at that time, I told you know what, I shouldn't be memorizing scripts. I should be understanding the jokes. I should just memorize the flow, the joke topics. That's okay, and then let it flow naturally as you should be. Yeah. So after that incident, I actually had like a big jump in terms of like my presence on stage, uh, the way how I deliver jokes. Now I no longer memorize scripts. Yeah. So if any of y'all, if you ever feel big time, don't go overly depressed. Maybe you take a rest. Then after that you reevaluate so that you become stronger lah.
Mhm. Right. So, is there any more questions to the floor? Maybe Daniel, if you have anything to ask. Seems like he's working as well as listening. So multitasking also at the corner there.
Multitasking, and then my kid is just in the other room as well. But yeah, you know what? It's very bold of you, Gajen, to be just moving out of your comfort zone. You know, because frankly speaking, you nailed it. That as all of us grew up in this Asian culture, the setting, our parents kind of like grew us, put us through school, put us through universities, and then we get a corporate job most of the time, and bam, you decided to take the leap of faith. And yeah, so that's really something very bold and adventurous in this modern age. You're not going somewhere where you have a lot of reference, to fall back on, like as you said, and that's what made you move to KL. So if you ask me, never mind lah. Yeah, well done, man, well done. So yeah, very bold.
Right.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks.
This what Edward said, it's inspiring from consulting to comedian. I love making jokes to make fun conversation, but always fail. I think Edward, just now you came in a bit late. Did this Gajen you can watch back the recording. He did mention a few tricks, how the tweaks and some of his personal experience lah, in terms of how to make jokes.
Yeah.
Not to say without fail, but most of the time very success lah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
By the way, sorry, just Edward, when you say you feel during what scenario? During like a meeting or during like a casual like a
dating,
dinner?
Kao Lui, dating.
Hey, don't ask relationship stuff, I'm
like because most of the time when we have a meeting at first, like for the first 5 to 10 minutes right now is that we have like jokes making like session, because I try to like to warm up the entire conversation, right?
Yeah.
So always like fail. So I feel like so sad. But for casual chat it's still fine. But right now there's Clubhouse, James. So the jokes, because at different conversation, especially like virtual setting, right? You need to give something like excitement for people to keep engaging. So like if it's too monotone, and then everybody's just like, this is like very monotone like that, yeah. So the context feel at can be casual, sometimes at a meeting at the first start when you're trying to warm out the entire session.
Okay, so like just give me an example, like during the meeting, the warm up part. Just give me an example of what someone has told before during the what kind of jokes one of your colleagues or maybe you have told before. Then I'll see how I can
but sometimes it's quite sarcastic when I heard about this. I just like we try to greet everyone, and then the thing is, for example, recently you actually get something like, because we didn't really get up to date on each other colleague stuff. It's just that when it goes to a situation is that we went into it. How's your day? Like, is your laptop is still working or not? Because sometimes we know that the laptop of hers, right, is always breaking down. Is your laptop like getting like take holidays or not? Like always a weekend.
Yeah, that's actually. So you see, that's actually a good joke. Maybe you should deliver it better, lah. So yeah. So like I said, so this is okay. The term that we use in stand-up comedy is convergence. So now you got two things, right? You got a laptop and you got a human being. Now, human beings, we also take holidays, we take MC. So now you're relating those two. Very much just now the analogical thinking. So it is actually a good joke. Like, it's just that maybe your delivery, usually
Yeah.
before the punchline, you got a pause.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. So it's actually a good start. And see, like, so this is a good thing, Edward, because see, you're speaking about something casual, which is something I mentioned just now. Just try speaking something casual. Hey, like ask specific questions. Like if you have kids, how's your kid? Learn anything new from your kid today? Because fathers and mothers, they learn new things while working from home, right? Or those who got pets, they say, oh, how's your cat? Has your cat interrupted any of your meetings? Or sometimes you can talk about some common interests or common news. Like recently, there was a lawyer that had a cat filter. I don't know whether you all saw that, which I think was hilarious. So sometimes you can talk about something funny that's already happened, and that will actually generate laughter. That means the joke is already there. You're just talking about it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's another way to generate humor. If you saw something funny online that it became famous, just talk about it, lah.
Yep. I got the conversion part.
Yeah. For example, if someone is late, say, "Wow, you're late, Like, where do you come back from?" Just talk casual stuff, like you never know. Link to something that everyone knows. Like now, people are talking about sugar baby, sugar daddy. I say, "Wow, you see someone. You look at Daniel Gore. He looks very rich, right? So you never know what's his." I don't know, but yeah, with all the tech and all that, sometimes you never know.
He's going bald, getting paid to get bald.
Bald? No lah, your hair looks good, Daniel. You look like a hair salonist, by the way. Like, I don't know why.
Soon. Yeah, because of the fundraiser. Yeah.
Hi, Gajen, just a quick one. Just now you were mentioning something about impromptu jokes.
Yeah.
Well, based on my observation on stand-up comedians so far, I noticed that probably Russell Peters is the only one that does these impromptu jokes very well, because he engages with the audience. Like he will ask, where are you from, or is there anybody from Hungary, that kind of thing, and he will bounce off the response given, because before the show he won't ask the audience, like randomly select, hey, where will you be sitting, I'm going to ask you this and that. No, I think it's mostly off the fly, on the fly kind of thing, and he just goes with the flow. So but other stand-up comedians, I find that no one does it like the audience interaction. That's why when you say impromptu jokes, I think the only person that comes into mind is Russell Peters. Yeah. Or maybe you can shed some light on that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the reason why most stand-up comedians, they don't talk to the audience is because whatever you see on YouTube is their best performance. So, for example, if you watch on Netflix, right, you realize all the stand-up comedy specials got no crowd interaction on, because people want to see what you have crafted and all that. I'm not saying that crowd interaction is not it's a skill, but for your best show, you wouldn't want to do that. It's in our, what do you call it? It's like a recommendations book when you do your best show. Now, Russell Peters, when he does that crowd interaction, it's his own show. It's not something that he's selling to TV or something like that. So for his like 1 hour specials, like I watch it, he does crowd interactions. So that's one of the reasons. It's not like other comedians don't do that. They actually do. It's just that they do it on a different setting, which you may not get to see online. That's one. Number two is, yes, certain comedians, they are comfortable talking to the crowd. Certain comedians, they're not comfortable. Russell, I think, is very comfortable. But maybe I share with you all a fun fact. What if I told you that half of the impromptu jokes are not impromptu? I know it sounds very weird, right? Hey, how can you say that, Gajen, but you're talking to someone? So I give you a tip. So sometimes he'll look at a Punjabi Punjabi father and say, oh, you're a Punjabi guy in Canada. I'm very sure when you start walking, you start doing this and all that. So it looks impromptu, but it's actually a written joke. So it's written joke already. I just have to find for a Punjabi father. Yeah. Or sometimes he does this joke where he'll tell a sex joke and then after he'll talk to a crowd. Right? He'll say, "Wow, father and daughter, that sex joke must have gone really well between the both of you all just now." So it looks impromptu, but it's scripted.
Mm.
So after I tell a sex joke, I just go to look for a father and a minor, be it whether it's a son or daughter, and I just tell them. So certain things, it looks very impromptu, but it's scripted. And even when I ask a question to the audience, if it's if the expected answer is between yes, no, or a 50-50, it's scripted because then I can write my jokes upfront, right? Because yes, no, what, if it's like an open-ended, like the real impromptu stuff where you don't, I'm not saying all some of the things you do really impromptu one. So like yesterday when I did the IT webcast, I had issues with that go to webinar kind of thing. So that one is real impromptu. You got to like really push it. So it's a balance lah. Like certain things that it looks impromptu. Even I do that also. Certain things that I do looks impromptu, but it's not because so again, it's what do you call that? Don't put your eggs in one basket. It's knowing how to, because impromptu is very difficult. I wouldn't recommend any one of y'all to try doing impromptu jokes. But what I can say is when you talk casual, just talk casual. If a joke comes out, it's good. If it doesn't come out, it's okay lah. After all, you're not branding yourself as a stand-up comedian. Right? If let's say you brand yourself as a stand-up comedian, then failure lah. You don't get any jokes in the beginning. Yeah. So yeah, that's a bit of insights under the crowd interaction kind of thing. Oh, and another tip. Sorry, in stand-up, if you go to a stand-up comedy show, if the crowd is very hard to break after the comedian has told some jokes, that's when the comedian will start doing crowd work to break the audience. That's one way to break the staleness of the crowd. Sometimes I do that at corporate setting. Last time I'll just go up and perform my jokes. But if I see the crowd is a bit, if I'm emceeing and also performing stand-up comedy, and I see the crowd's a bit rowdy or something like that, I'll go to the table, I'll do like a conversation. Then I'll get everyone to keep quiet. Then once they're okay with me, then I'll go up on stage and perform. So crowd interactions, unless is to make the gap closer. Yeah.
And Gajen, I always wanted to ask one question. I mean, they always say that if there's more than one people in the room, the politics will be there. So for comedian groups itself, do you have any chronics or groups whereby politics like we are only somehow sideline certain people or somehow favoritism one group, or I mean among your comedian so what will you say on that? I mean, especially people that you knew. I mean, in the context of Malaysian, we can say for this time. So do you have like Jason Leong, Douglas, or yourself, or even Haris Iskandar, or this kind of people? Do you have any this kind of any politics between you guys in the comedian world?
So the answer is yes, there are some politics. Not me, but two famous comedians, which all of y'all know, but I won't mention who lah. But if you go on social media, if you follow them, there's two very famous comics. They sometimes they'll bang each other on social media lah. But my personal take on that is it's a bit silly. Number one, I find it very high school lah. Like I tell always, never burn a bridge with someone. You either just ignore, but don't. And I also believe in transparency. If you don't like someone, just voice out face to face. Why want to be so childish and all that? Another thing is also, I told the stand-up comedians of my batch, the one who started in 2012, to if there's something that you're unhappy, just pick it out. Don't do this politics thing. Because at the end of the day, the industry is very small. Like the whole of Malaysia, only like 15 English-speaking stand-up comedians who are full-time. So industry is so small, then you want to have politics. Like if in America, I understand, because the industry is so big already. In fact, it's like a multi-million, like a billion industry. So there's bound to be with the amount of volume. But here, Southeast Asia, so small, even in fact, the whole of Asia, stand-up comedy is still very at its birth stage. So it doesn't make sense for there to be politics, because everyone loses in the industry. You'll only grow strong if you're together.
Having said that, right? So, I mean, obviously, some may see it as a competition because all of y'all are your own individual brands of solo comedians. Would it be feasible or yeah, would it be feasible or practical to, instead of going towards that direction of competition, as you said, the industry is so small, so to encourage it or to spur growth, how foreseeable it is for a collaboration for maybe a certain cause between comedians, say for the sake of growth of the industry?
Yeah. So like for the context of Malaysia, actually all of us, we all know each other. Like everyone. Like even like from a comedian who's only got like 3-4 years experience until like Harith Iskandar, Douglas Lim, everyone knows each other because the community is very small, maybe like 30-40. So just now I said 15 was like the full-time professionals. 30-40 is including the ones who just started in a few years. So we all collaborate with each other. That's point number one. It's because there are not many of us to begin with. That's one. Number two, regarding competition, is it depends on how people see it. To me, I don't really care about competition because at the end of the day, your biggest competitor is your best of yourself. So you got to beat yourself. Once you start, not to say you can't compare with other people. I think I wouldn't want to use the word compare. I'll say you can use that as a reference. Right? But once you start comparing, my advice is the biggest worry of this is you may fall into this infinite loop of that person's always better than me. The truth be told is there's always someone better than you.
Yes.
It's just a matter of which area. So I give you an example, right? Let's say now you're a millionaire. Are there multi-millionaires? Yeah, got right. Right?
Yes.
Let's say you're a multi-millionaire. Then you look at Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. They are billionaires, right? And then Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, they look at the Dwayne Johnson. Say, I wish I have a body like that, right? Then Dwayne Johnson, you got such a nice body. He looks like Kevin Hart, and he'd be like, I wish I was as funny as Kevin Hart, right? And then after Kevin Hart, funny guy. Kevin Hart look at Shaq, the basketball player, and say, I wish I had his height. So it's never ending loop. And that is a very big recipe for depression. Because when have you hit your goals then? You still keep comparing and all that. And this is a common thing in the corporate world also. When people move up the corporate ladder really fast, people who are actually not bad, they're actually very good. It's just that they're not as good as them. They think they are lousy. And this is also in our Asian culture, like since school, right? Yeah, let's say you score 88, class average 92. 88 is A, but you're below average. Bam. You start, So ask yourself, you are competing with yourself. That's all I can say. And you should be happy when competitions are good because then it motivates you to be better. Yeah. So you shouldn't be scared of competition. You should be happy when they are good.
So I also wanted to ask, personally, what do you guys think about recently the viral from this guy? What is his name? Real name? I mean, he was been nicknamed called Uncle Roger. So this Uncle Roger, I don't see him very funny but somehow so so somehow people say he's funny, but looking at him, he have the slang itself, trying to make the slang, but I don't see there are a lot of content there. So what would your takes for as a stand-up comedian for so many years? Do you consider him as an open mic, or he just try to make viral himself, or I mean what is his status on this kind of if you have these people in a society?
Good question, James. Okay, so Nigel is my friend. He's so long story short on him, he's a Malaysian who studied in US, who then worked in UK, and he started his stand-up comedy career in UK. So that's the long story short. Now, he is not an open micer, he's actually a professional stand-up comedian. And to be honest, that guy is hilarious, like on stage. His stand-up comedy is really good. Right? So now the problem that every stand-up comedian faces is coming up with social media content. I'm talking about stand-up comedians. Very few know how to come up with social media content because we can't really post our stand-up comedy jokes every single day. Because like I said, to come up with a joke, it takes a very long time, months,
Yes.
You need to first write a joke, perform an open mic, then reevaluate, test. It's like a agile methodology. Like if you're in corporate, you'll know that. You keep test, then after go production, test, and then you put there. So once you're already out there, if you put it on the internet, people already know the joke. And joke is not like songs. You don't listen again and again. You can listen again and again, but there needs to be a space time. So the next best thing is, how do we come up with content? So the idea is always, if you keep doing jokes, it may look too intellectual. And truth be told is intellectual people are minority. That's the truth. A movie like Fast and Furious will get more views in Asia as compared to say Inception or Interstellar, right? Because Interstellar, Inception, a lot of conversation, a lot of talking, a lot of brain juice. But Fast and Furious easy car racing. So, question: how do we stand-up comedians face this issue? Because stand-up comedy is a very intellectual thing. Because there's no action.
Yes.
So the thing that's doing most of your work is your ears and your brains. So you need to be an intellectual person to appreciate stand-up comedy. So what kind of content do we do? So we start moving the bar. So he started this character called Uncle Roger last year during what do you call it, the pandemic. And it's very similar. I understand the why. Is because he needed something to get more followers. And every comedian will need to be relevant in the social media age. Is because people need to know you. You could be good or bad, but people first need to know you before they can even come to your show.
True.
So I'll be honest with you. Do I find it funny? The answer is no. And I think if you ask him, he will probably not really like that character as well as compared, because he's a smart guy. He has come out with really smart jokes on stage. So he's doing it because he's catering for a different crowd. And he has worked very well because it's got him millions of people. It's just like Mr. Bean. If you go and listen to Rowan Atkinson, right? He said he won't play the character again because it's not. I'm not punching down Mr. Bean or what, but he has done it for certain reasons. But he's a very smart guy. The guy got masters, in electrical engineering. So a lot of people don't know. So it's smart people, and this Nigel Lang is a top student, by the way. He's a very smart guy. So the why is he's not really Uncle Roger. His standard is much higher than that, but he's doing it for content creation because people like it and all that. So same thing like when I do my content, when I went full time, I asked myself, I can't be posting stand-up comedy videos. What other videos can I post? So I first started with a talk show, which is called What's Going On. I talk about current issues. So it's still sort of stand-up comedy style, but now I got visuals coming in. So now it opens up my bar from stand-up comedy, now a bit easier to consume. Then after that, I started with the comedy skit Gayatri, which is easier to consume because it's all about Asian upbringing. And then it's got some acting there. So, but it's still stand-up comedy, is still the core thing, the writing and all that. So I'm pushing the bar. So that's what comedians, the ones who want to be relevant in the social media world, that's what they got to do So that's the whole story. Do I find the Uncle Roger funny? No. But do I understand? Do I know if it's funny or not? Yes, I know it's funny, but I don't find it funny. There's a big difference there.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like for example, like just to tell you upfront, will I keep doing Gayatri videos for the rest of my life? No. The answer is no. Will I keep doing that talk show format? Yes, but maybe in a different form. Like, I follow some followers from US, right? They gave one guy feedback. Say, hey, Gajen, I like your What's Going On talk show. But then he told me there's a bit too much memes inside because I put in memes like people shouting and all that. And I told him, yeah, I totally understand you. Even I, as a stand-up comedian, I would love to remove all the memes. Then I told him, unfortunately, in Asia, a lot of people will miss punchlines if there's no indication. And that's why you got to post it. The same thing as, it's true.
Yes.
People, so the memes is not to make it funny, it's to tell them, hey, there was a punchline there. And so that's the reason why he came up with that video. It's a content creation part. Yeah.
Right. So we come almost right on time. Now is 1 hour sharing from 10:30 just now. So before I open up the breakup rooms like as a usual one, I'd like to ask Gajen one question that I often ask all the Gem speaker, which is if you have one superpower for yourself, what would that be and why?
So okay, I think we are quite serious. So I'll give more like a funny answer. I want to teleport.
Okay.
I just want to teleport anywhere. So what superhero can teleport? In X-Men there's a guy. Is it a Nightcrawler? I think it's Nightcrawler. Okay, Daniel. I got the verification from Daniel. So his downside is he needs to have a memory of the place. If he cannot visualize, so for me, my superpower will be like him, except that I just need to refer to Google Maps. I just go to Street View. They say, okay, I want to be in Paris. Bam, I'm there. I don't have to check in my luggage and all that. Yeah. So that's my dream. Yeah, the very Asian answer. I just want to go traveling.
Very nice, very nice. All right. Thank you very much, Gajen, for your time. So I have a quick one with the breakup rooms, and I'll be back again after 10 minutes time. All right. Oh,
Yep, sure.
Winnie is leaving. All right, no problem. Wait, yep, let me switch on the breakup rooms. Just switch join, and you can go. Yep. Oh. Right. Not
What are we doing in the breakup rooms?
They just have a talk about what I mean, just a recap by themselves, among themselves, what they have learned, and you'll be surprised they'll come with very good Q&A after the breakup rooms, like they've been stuck somewhere, wanted to ask something, I mean, between themselves. Then when they come back with very more insightful questions, I hope. And of course, at the same time, I try to manually putting them and let them to get to know each other with extra friends, because I have people been requested. I mean, he's not here. Obviously, he's Wen Jian. So Wen Jie, he told me, I mean, even in the beginning of the Jam Talk, he said, who was the participants here? I really wanted to break up room with this person, later can you put me there? So yesterday I have one Masale girl, very beautiful. Her name is Natasha from UK. So got one girl, Malaysian, Carmen, already told me in private text, say, hey, later breakup room, can you put me with this girl? I want to talk with her, So that kind of interaction there. I mean, I try to, because it's been a few times of the session, so somehow I knew what's the audience they kind of find enjoy throughout the talk as well. Yeah. So, where's Jiva? Jiva, are you there? Wait, Mickey, yeah. Let me see.
Jiva says she can't join the breakout in another training.
Yes, okay. I'm here, but I'm churing this kind listening to you all now while still attending another training.
Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you.
Welcome.
Let me go to wait.
I don't know. I'm here. It's okay. Since I'm here, I thought of asking Gajen. Hey, Gajen.
Hey, hi, Mikey.
Morning. Yeah, I think we spoke before, right? Yeah. So anyway, it's good to speak to you again. Hey, a few things. Okay, by the way, I'm in IT, or now not so much in IT because I'm.
Oh, you say IT? I thought you said Tai Chi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Tai Chi is
Tai Chi work.
Yeah, Tai Chi. My boss always taught me to, hey, anything Tai Chi. It's a no, but sounds like yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm in IT, so I fully understand what you mentioned about all these things about the project management and so on. I'm just thinking like you mentioned about staying away from the racist lines and so on in jokes, right?
Yeah.
How about things that about politics as well? How about things related to say nations? Right. Sometimes you talk about Chinese stuff, right? It's like making fun of yourself, right? But then some pure Chinese out there may find offended. It's like me talking about China and US wars and everything. Like is this something that is so sensitive that we should avoid?
That's why, like I said, it needs to be a bit more specific. I got to know the context. That means you're making fun of China and US. So what joke is it? Are you talking about the trade war or something?
The trade wars,
trade war. So you have a joke about the trade war.
Yeah, I'm just for example, yeah.
Do you have that joke in hand, or you're planning? You don't have the joke in hand.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it depends on the context. So this one, I think, is not so. It depends. Okay, so it depends on your audience. I wouldn't want to tell this joke if they're Americans or Chinese in the crowd, as in like from China. If it's like you're based in Singapore, right, Mikey?
No, I'm Malaysian.
Oh, Malaysian. Okay, sorry. So if your crowd, understand your crowd. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to tell a joke if, let's say, any of those two nationalities are in the crowd. At the same time, you got to understand the joke. What is the joke about? Like I said, you got to understand whether punching up or punching down, or sometimes it could be from a neutral standpoint. So okay, I'll tell you a joke that I have about Malaysia, about Malaysia and America.
All right.
I'll say, Malaysia and America, we have a lot of similarities. Do you know that, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, our flags very similar.
Yeah,
red and white stripe.
Mm-hmm.
Color, star. That's point number one. Point number two, Malaysian and Americans, we are pioneers in the obesity index.
Okay.
Right? In our own region, we are always at the top. Southeast Asia, Malaysia, number one obesity index. America, same thing. Point number three, America and Malaysia, we both have local car companies that can never do well internationally. The only difference, point number four, America and Malaysia, we both have the same bosses, China. So you see, this joke, it's a similarity.
I see.
It's not
It's
so
more
I tell this
neutral,
in front of Malaysia.
not so offensive.
Which is why I say you got to see what are you doing. If you're talking about trade war, I think it should be okay because trade war is
quite
talking
neutral.
about economics and all that It's not like if you're talking things about say the way humans are being treated, say like in certain human rights kind of thing, like certain states. So if you're talking like Black Lives Matter or what's happening in what Uyghur and all that, so you just got to be careful on that
That's a good point.
Trade war I think should be okay because it's like more to finance,
more neutral
and all that.
Okay. Yeah, the Singapore. Okay, I can't blame you. You mentioned for Singapore because I was based there. I'm Malaysian. I studied at NUS actually. So when you mentioned about NUS and Monash, it resonated with me Yeah. I studied twice. Yeah, twice. Not say I failed, but I did my bachelor and masters there. So when you said it brings up memories. So yeah, I mean, because you know Singapore and Malaysia, there's a bit of sibling rivalry, right? So sometimes when you share a joke, it might be offensive, you know. So when I mentioned about Monash and US, it just reminded me of that. That led me to the China and US trade war kind of thing.
Yeah. A lot of jokes happen. A lot of jokes happen between like a comparison between two. That's a way of writing a joke. So so now you have actually put US, China, then trade war. So comparison of two. So this time I put NUS, Monash, comparison of two. But you notice the NUS and Monash joke. The reason why when I did the IT webcast and everyone laughed is because I mentioned I'm from Monash, and then the joke is on Monash, which is me. So I take the hit as well.
So the minority
I didn't punch down on NUS, which is the guest. I'm also a guest but I'm the one. I'm the source here because I'm telling the joke. Which is why apart from context, you also look at boundaries, right? Who is it hitting? It's hitting me. So
it's like, for example, like, you know, just say that my crowd mostly are Indians, right? And I'm Chinese. If I talk jokes about my own self, Chinese is punch in a way it's punching up, not punching down them, right? But if I talk about some Indian jokes and a crowd of Indians, it sounds like it could be touching the sensitive lines lah. So that's the point, right?
Depends. Like just now I gave the example of the Indian joke. Her father goes into a labor room. So that's punching up. So it's fine. Because sometimes you make, let's say in front of let's say a group of Indians, let's say you make fun of Chinese, it could also be it may fail, because you know why? They may feel bad because sometimes humans, right, we'll feel bad to laugh about someone who's not there. But that's actually at a much higher level, I would say. You get what I mean? But I think no, I think in your case, I think it should be okay because you are Chinese. But let's say talking about third party, where the third party is not in the room, sometimes it may feel, but the nationality part is okay. The US, China, if they are not in the room, because it's not talking about, like I said, not talking about human rights or culture. It's like it's economy. It's like so I think that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, and when you tell that kind of jokes, you win something, you lose something. So when you tell that trade war joke, do you know what you lose or not? Just you think, just give it a shot. What do you think you lose? Okay, you lose on the one thing that you lose is whether is it relatable or not. Unless people there who are really into trading, into politics and all that, then they can relate. But even that, so it won't be as relatable as what you just said just now. You just said, "Hey, Gajen, I'm from NUS." That's very personal.
Well, I'm not offended.
I don't know. I know you're not offended. I'm saying it's a good thing.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying you're losing that personal touch.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes you have this personal touch to create that bond. So like beginning when I start, I say James, brother is Steve, blah blah blah. We met and all that. It creates that bond. Say I'm from Penang and all that. It when you create that, when you have a stronger bond, it's easier for you to talk. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes I try to tell jokes, then sometimes like I mean overdo it. Sometimes it's too impromptu, in my head. Then sometimes you might touch sensitive lines, then you hold back, then the oomph is lost.
Yeah,
Sometimes you say,
that's the thing
just
about
joking, just kidding, it sounds like it's no longer fun, It's like in the Russell Peters, right? If we talk about Arab jokes, it's ha ha ha, The part, remember? I'm sure you remember that one.
I remember the joke. Yeah, how Arabs are.
It's like he's laughing sarcastically, funny, very funny. It's like repeating lines. So sometimes, that's what I mentioned earlier when James asked me earlier during the session, initial session, talk about. I mentioned about I like to tell jokes, but sometimes I can't resist being professional, So then sometimes when you overdo it, it may offend people. I think that's not nice,
I think the probably one of the thing that is helpful is that it's easier for us to laugh at ourselves and our kind rather than to point at somebody like Russell Peter. He can talk the Indian jokes and laugh about the Indians, but don't talk about Arabs. Just like Mickey, you and I will be like, we can talk about the Malaysian Chinese and how we act. Then it's like we own this culture rather than we are laughing at somebody else's culture. So that probably is one thing that I think for me as a beginner would be something to be mindful about.
I think that's great feedback, Julia. Is it something like what Gajen has mentioned, something relatable, right? Because Malaysian Chinese. So that's where we relate.
Yeah, so say for example, if I'm in a Malay crowd then I will talk about all the funny things that the Chinese do, right? So it's like we laugh at ourselves, but never we want to go and point at somebody else, laugh at somebody else's practices and culture.
That's what Gajen was mentioning earlier, that he's from Monash and he very much talking about himself, and he even mentioned time to time about Chindian, because he's one of the very special breed, and many people can take this as a funny way of how he described himself as a Chindian, because he have the advantage actually for talking about Chinese, Indian, or even Chindian itself. So very much related on that, Julian.
Yeah, but just a note, so like just now you said Malay crowd, then you talk about Chinese. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, it's safer. But like I said, the thing that you lose is it's less relatable to them.
Yes.
So that's something you have to take into account. So you win something, you lose something. So that's another thing to take out. So you can actually talk about them, but just make sure it's punching up. So for example,
it has to be something that they experience, something that they're very frustrated about the Chinese.
Yeah. So for example, like let's say, I would say Malays are like very polite lah. Like I went to IKEA, I sat down beside a Malay auntie and she asked me, "Adik, kamu rehat ke?" Then say, "Oh, very polite." Say if it was a Chinese or Indian auntie, they straight away grab handbag, walk away. I don't know, something like that lah. But you basically look at the context of that group. So if it's Malays, just now I said Malays are polite, auntie very. So, but even that also, I wouldn't. Actually, that was a bad example because it's punching down on Chinese or Indian. But point being is, you win something, you lose something. So the thing that you lose is if you keep telling all Chinese jokes, but then the Malay crowd they say they're not relatable. Because when I get requests also, the request that I get, hey, can you make fun of that particular topic that we are in, IT? Can you make fun of a lot of directors to be in? So these are the more open-minded. So it's a bit subjective. So I wouldn't want to sell you the idea of do not talk about, make jokes of anything that's related to the crowd, because then it may not seem relevant. But it's also safe. So like I said, a balance. So the best way to do this is do it on a smaller setting. If you want to test this all out, do it on a smaller setting. If you have, in fact, you have like a meeting with friends or like casual, smaller groups and all that. Like just now, who was that guy just now who did that casual thing? Who did the joke of it's like a really young, Edward. Yeah, now you're here. Brother, where you disappear? You teleported to Paris. Like you had my superpower. Yeah, okay, now you're here. So you can do that thing, that practice of just having a casual, don't use it a joke session, just a casual session. If you come out with jokes, then okay. You will somehow build your what do you call it? Your character there. You will find yourself there. Because you'll be surprised. A lot of people, they are funny with their friends. Even all of you, I can tell you that. You have made your friends laugh. You just got to ask yourself, how can you channel that on a bigger stage? And you do it face by face. So maybe a little bit of homework for all of you. The next time, if you are with your friends and all, if you have made them laugh, You quickly jot down your notepad. What specifically did you say? And you just jot that down. And then you go back, you try to study it. It's very difficult to study, but at least you have data for you to study and ask yourself, like I said, misdirection, plot twist. That's why people laugh. So like just now when I said teleportation and then Edward laughed. So the reason why that's funny, because it's callback. Because I'm using back. So callback is a technique. So this is not a total comparison, it's a technique. Callback is another technique. I've mentioned just now I wanted to teleport somewhere. Yeah. So there's also another technique, and that's how you study. So always jot down. If you don't have data, you have nothing to study. You need something to study. It's just like people who have made it financially, they've all got data, financial data. So yeah, track your, whenever you make fun with whenever you successfully make your friends laugh, jot it down. Then you'll see yourself improvement. Yeah.
All right. So maybe after this session, we can see a few open mic jokers here. Maybe like start with Jeffrey. Jeffrey is he's calling himself a balcony man on LinkedIn because he always taking videos at his balcony. Obviously, even now he has been extended to the extreme where even he walk on the park. Also, he calling himself a balcony man. So maybe after this, he'll calling himself a balcony comedian. I think. Jeffrey.
I don't know about that, man.
Oh, what is this?
Now,
Char What?
no,
Kami mo liao.
balcony man need to makan, see the food.
Wow.
Oh,
very nice, very nice.
Malele,
Enjoying life, enjoying life.
Jeffrey's doing a vlog now, travel vlog.
Yeah, I could, man. I should.
Hey Jeffrey, give your address and you send me a packet of two. I'm okay.
Food panda.
Hey, but we don't deliver to Disneyland, Mickey.
Oh yeah. Big exception.
Gajen will bring it to you with his teleportation powers.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks a lot, Jeffrey. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Yeah. So we almost come to the end of the session. Right. So thank you very much for all here. We have 12 people. Previously, I think the highest rank was 20. So 8 of them left. They actually did courtesy text to me saying that they are busy. Although they are having some only 10 minutes break, they also came in and went off again. Yep. So I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you very much.